Today, we're going to build a very action-packed little game, okay, called Supercat, okay? It's going to be a superhero-themed game where we are going to be a cat trying to catch snacks in the middle of the air, okay, in the middle of the air. So we're going to be flying through the air like a superhero, and then when the snacks come in, we're trying to catch as many snacks as we can, okay? All right, so let's have a look at this. We got lots of people now. Okay, it looks like a few people have joined over the last 10 minutes, which is great. So I was just giving everybody a bit of an introduction into Scratch, but now we're going to get ready to do our exercise. Like I said, we're going to do a superhero-themed exercise. We're going to have a cat flying through the air, and then we're going to catch the snacks as they fly through and avoid the obstacles, okay? So stick around. We're going to do this game right now. Okay, so first thing we want to do is over here, this cat is the kind of cat that we want, but it is not the exact one. Okay, so I want you to delete it by pressing this bin button on the top right corner of the sprite. You see where my hand is? Right here, top right corner of the sprite. Click the bin, we delete the cat. Okay, everybody deleting the cat? If anybody ever has a problem, make sure you put your hand up, okay? So you press the raise hand button and then you tell me that you have a problem, okay? If you don't have a problem, don't worry about it. Don't raise your hand, okay? At the end, you can tell me about all the cool things that you've done by raising your hand, but during the lesson, raise your hand only if you have a problem, okay? All right, let's continue. So we've deleted the cat. That should be the easiest part of our lesson so far. Okay, then we choose a sprite. So I want you to go choose a sprite. Over here. Now, I want you to look for a cat flying like a superhero. Okay, so we go to animals over here. Animals. And then we got cat flying here. Okay, cat flying is what we want. Cat flying is the sprite that we want. Okay. So we went from all to animals, and then we go down here to cat flying. We click on that. All right, cat flying. This is going to be great because we're going to start off with the cat on the left-hand side, just like this. Okay, so you can drag your cat around. You can touch it with your mouse, and then drag it to the left-hand side, just like that. Okay. Now, at the end of the lesson, we're going to decorate our cat to make it look more like a superhero, okay? So this is going to be a lot of fun. Everybody's going to have a very different looking superhero cat. Can't wait to see what your superhero cat looks like, okay? All right, so we have a cat on the left-hand side like this. Now we want to choose a background because it's flying through the air, okay? So we want to change the background so it's flying through the air. So choose a backdrop. I want you to choose any backdrop you want. Any backdrop you want, but it has to make sense that it's flying through the air, okay? I would suggest something like Blue Sky or Blue Sky 2. These two are fantastic. What's another good one? Hayfield looks good as well, if you want to do Hayfield. Stars is also good. I am going to choose Blue Sky, okay? I'm going to go Blue Sky. So we've got a cat doing the superhero pose, and then we've got to fly through the air, okay? Through the blue sky. All right. Did anyone have questions? No? Okay. If you do have a question, then keep your hand up. But otherwise, we shall continue onwards. All right. So now we're going to give our cat a little bit of instruction. So I want you to go into events, and start when we press the go flag, then we start the game. So when we press the go flag, we want to be able to change the position of our cat. Okay, so go into events, and then we go when the go flag is clicked. The flag is clicked here. Okay. When the flag is clicked, what we want to do is we want to give it a forever loop because we want to make it so that when we are pressing the up arrow, the cat goes up. When we press the down arrow, cat goes down. Okay. So go in the control, give it a forever loop. Okay. Forever loop. Now, who wants to have a go of doing the next block? The next block is a control block but we want to make it so that it is only when you are hitting an up or down button. So who wants to have a go of answering this one? Yolanda, what's the next block that you suggest?
You go into sensing, and then you go into key space press or wherever it is, and you can see there's up arrow, down arrow, right
That's
arrow.
excellent. That's really, really good. But before we do that, do you know what the control block is so that we can put that sensing block in there?
The something equal to 50.
So that's the operators, but that's not bad, Yolanda. What we're going to do is we're going to, Ethan wants to say something, yes?
You use the if then block.
If then block, fantastic, excellent work, Ethan. And Yolanda got the second part right, which is to use a sensing block. So well done, both of you, well done, guys. So we go an if then block. First, inside the forever block. So you grab the if-then block over here, and then you put it inside the forever block. And then, just like Yolanda said, we want to go, if we sense, we press the up arrow. Okay, so we go into sensing. And then we go key space press. We change the space pressed to up arrow pressed. Key up arrow pressed. Okay, and drag that in. Okay. And so now we have a forever loop with key up arrow pressed. And then we make it so that when you press the up arrow, we move the cat up. So we go into motion. And then we go change Y by 10. So when we press the flag, and then I press the up arrow, the cat is going to go up. Oh, but it's going to not come down. So we got to be careful not to make it go all the way up. If you've accidentally make it go all the way up and you couldn't reach it from outside the screen, don't worry. I'll show you exactly how to pull it back. Okay, so you don't panic. All you have to do is, okay, watch this. I've got my cat. Oh, I got it moved out of the screen. I can still touch it. Okay, I can still grab it. But if I can't see it, then you can change the Y number over here back to 0, and then it goes back into the middle. Okay? Right. Good. All right. So if up arrow pressed, then we change Y by 10. So now we do the opposite for the down arrow. So all you have to do is go to control, add another if then block, but make it go after this first if then block. Okay? So don't put it inside the if then block. Make it go after the if then block, but inside the forever block, okay, the forever loop. Okay, you see where I've left it? You drop it in here, and then when down arrow pressed, so you go back into sensing, okay, go back into sensing to move the down arrow pressed block here. So we go key up arrow pressed, change it, key down arrow pressed. Down arrow pressed. And then we change the Y by -10 because we wanted to go down. And remember, when we at the start of the lesson, we talked about how when Y gets bigger, it goes up. But when Y gets smaller, like into negative numbers, it goes down. Okay, so when down arrow is pressed, we go down. So we go into motion. And then we go change Y by -10. Change Y by -10. So now when we press the flag, you should be able to now change how high and how low the cat can fly. Yes.
What about going left and right?
We will. We can try to make it go left and right as well, but we'll add it in at the end of the game if we want to make it go left and right. Okay.
Okay.
Excellent. because we're going to keep it on the left-hand side, because this is kind of like one of those endless games where we're constantly flying through the game, okay? And then the snacks are going to come in from the right-hand side. Okay, so we now have a cat flying, looking like it's flying. Okay, so now I want to add the snack. The snack is what we are going to try and catch. So here, going to choose a sprite, and you can choose whatever you want to be your snack. But I want you to choose a proper food for a snack. Okay, so an apple is a good food, banana is a good food, a bear is probably not a good food. All right, so choose something that's going to be nice and small and be nice, a nice snack. Okay, so I'm going to choose. You can go food like this. You can press the food button up the top, and then you can see all the different foods. I'm gonna have my cat catched tacos. Actually, tacos look tasty. I'm gonna go for tacos. Ah, excellent. This is gonna be great. All right. So you have chosen your food. Now, whatever food you choose, pardon me, I want you to make it smaller so that it's going to be small enough to be to make it a bit of a challenge to get. We don't want it too easy to get your food. Okay. So I'm going to choose my taco. I'm going to change its size to 30. Okay. And like I said, if my picture is blocking the way, then move my picture around. Okay, you can move my picture around. Taco, size is 30. And then my cat is all about trying to catch these tacos. All right. So now I need to give my tacos some instructions. Okay. So before we were giving all our instructions to our cat. And you see that because right now when we have the taco selected, when you click on the taco, it's going to flash on the screen. And then there's no code in the middle. All our code has disappeared. But don't worry, that is because the code is now on the cat. So if you press the cat, the code will be back. And then you'll see the cat on the top right-hand side, just like that. Okay. All right. Okay, so we have our taco coming in and our cat on the side. So now we press our taco because we need to give instructions to our taco. Click on the taco. And now this is what I want you to do. We want to give it an instruction so that when it starts the game, we have to hide the taco. We have to hide the taco. And then we are going to clone the taco so that we can sometimes have more than one taco flying through the screen. If you've played or created the game for the Easter Bunny, do you remember the Easter Bunny game last term? Well, we had just one egg flying across all the time. But if we make a clone of the taco, then we can have more than one taco flying through at the same time. And I'll show you how to do that, okay? All right. So, like I said, we start the taco with an event on flag clicked. When flag clicked. When the flag is clicked, what we want to do is we want to go into looks and then we want to hide the taco. Hide the taco. Okay. And then what we want to do is we want to make it so between every say 2 to 4 seconds, we have a new taco get cloned, okay? And to do that, we're going to go into to control, and then we're going to have a forever loop. And in that forever loop, what we want to do is we want to clone the taco every 2 to 4 seconds. So first of all, we'll clone the taco, but then we're going to wait between 2 to 4 seconds before we clone again, okay? So we go into control, and then we go create clone of myself. See the create clone of? So in the code, you say create clone of myself because I want to create a clone of the taco. Create a clone of myself inside the forever loop. But then we're going to wait between 2 to 4 seconds. So we need to go wait 1 second here. We've put that in straight after cloning, but instead of 1 second, we're going to change it to between 2 to 4 seconds. So we need a random number. So we're going to operators, and then we're going to put a random number between 2 to 4. So we go operators, pick random, 2 to 4. Operators, pick random, 2 to 4. Is everybody going okay? No questions? That's good. If you are stuck, if you have a problem, then raise your hand, okay? If there's no problem, don't have to raise your hand. You can tell me about your cool stuff at the end of the lesson, okay? So that's great. You guys are doing very wonderfully. So we need pick random 2 to 4. Yeah. But don't start the code yet because we haven't told it what to do when we start off as a clone. So to do the code for when it is a clone, I'm just going to make this smaller so that we can add more code. We go into control. And then we go when I start as a clone in control. Okay. Okay, you go into control, and then you go down. At the end, it says when I start as a clone. Okay. When I start as a clone, what do I do? Well, what we're going to do is we start off on this right-hand side, and then, but we have a random vertical. We're going to have a random Y value. Okay, so to do that, what we do is we go, when I start as a clone, we go into motion, and then we say, go to XY. Okay, so we go to X, and then there has a number, and Y is the number. As long as you make sure that your taco is on the side there, you don't have to worry about these numbers yet. Okay, just make sure that the taco is on the right-hand side, and then you go to XY. But then for the Y, I want you to change it so that it is a random number. So we want the Y value to be anything between, say, positive 150 to negative 150, okay? So the Y value is going to be a random number. So remember how we did a random number? Remember how we did a random number? You go down to operators, which are the green ones, okay? Where you choose the random number, and it has to be between two numbers, minus 150 and 150, okay? That makes it so that it starts at a random height, and then we have to catch it. All right. So go into operators, and then we go pick random. And then before we had 2 to 4, but this time we have minus 150 to 150. And then we put that inside the Y value over here. When I start as a clone, make sure this is all happening inside the taco, by the way. So just making sure that you see a taco up here. Okay, very important. All right. Yes.
But don't we need to show it first?
Excellent, excellent. So that is an excellent point. We are going to show it first. Okay, so let's do that. Let's go into looks. Excellent suggestion, Yolanda. We would have had to find out what's wrong with it if we didn't do this. So go into looks, and then we go show. Very good, Yolanda. Thanks very much for that. And then while we're at it, we can go. So we go. Actually, we'll put show after it's gone to a random height. And that's the reason is because if we show it first, then you're going to see it in the middle and then zap up and down, right? So we don't want to do that. We want to go to a random place first, start, and then we show it. And then we're going to travel to the left until it hits the edge. Okay, so we go into control, and then we go repeat until it hits the edge. But it actually repeats until it hits the edge or it hits the cat. Because if it hits the cat, then we score, right? But if it hits the edge, then the taco is lost and we don't score. Okay? But either way, we are going to delete the taco, all right? So here we go. We'll go straight back into it. All right, repeat until. So here we're going to wait a second before we do this bit because I'm going to show you what to do in a moment, okay? Repeat until it touches the edge. So we go sensing. Oh, okay, may as well do it now. Yeah, well, touching mouse pointer over here. We'll repeat until it's touching the edge. Okay. Repeat until it's touching the edge. And then if it touches the edge, then we delete ourselves. So we go into control again. And then we go delete this clone. So what are we going to repeat until we touch the edge or touch the cat? Who wants to put their hand up and suggest what should be going into this block here? Should we be repeating? That's okay. What we're going to do is we are, oh, Ethan, want to have a go?
You keep on cloning the taco.
Clone the taco? That's a good guess. It's a good guess, but we've already cloned the taco. But so this is when it starts off as the clone. So now we start off on the right-hand side, and then we're going to do something. What do you think we're doing? That's okay. We're actually going to travel to the left. So we're changing the X value by minus, say 10, okay? So we'll go into motion. And then we're going to change X by minus 10. And then it will delete the clone. So if I press the flag right now, then it's going to start cloning the taco, and it's going to fly from the right-hand side to the left-hand side. Okay, so this is looking a little bit slow at the moment. So what I suggest we do is we're going to change the random number so it's between 1 and 3 instead of 2 and 4. Okay, so you're seeing my screen here. I'm going to pick the random. I'm going to be 1 and 3 seconds to create the clone so that there's more clones that are created. And then secondly, what I want to do is I want to change X by minus 7 instead to make it go slower. Okay? That way, we can have more tacos on the screen, and it's going to take longer to fly across. Yes. Hello, Ethan? Oh, no. It's okay. Yolanda?
We still need to make the card for when the cat touches the taco.
That's right. That's going to be our next part. So, so make sure that your code is working first, and then we are going to make our cat touch the taco. Okay. So, in order to do that, all we have to do is do something very similar to what what we did before. So inside the repeat until touching edge code here, we're going to have an if then block. So go into control. And then we want to have an if then block over here. If then, what do we want to do? If it touches the cat, then we also delete the clone. Okay, so we go into sensing, and then we go, if it's sensing that it's touching the flying cat flying, then it also deletes the clone. Then it also deletes the clone. So we go into control, and then we go delete this clone. Okay. And why are we doing it like this? Why aren't we doing it saying repeat until it's touching the edge or touching the cat inside the same block here? I could have an operator with an or keyword and say if it's touching the edge or touching the cat, right? But I'm doing it this way because we want to keep score of the of how many tacos that the player is catching. So in order to keep score, what we can do is we are going to go and create a variable. Okay, so make sure that after you've added this, see if you can catch the tacos, because if you touch the tacos, then the taco will also disappear, see? So if it flies off to the edge, it disappears, but if we touch it, it also disappears. So that's looking good. All right, any questions so far? If we have questions, then we can try to fix them now. Otherwise, we will continue on. No, that's good. Oh, wow. I got to say that everybody is very, very, very attentive this time. I'm very, very impressed. So don't be shy. If you have a question, raise your hand, okay? I'm here to help. But if you have caught up, that's really, really good work because this is quite tricky. A lot of it is very, very hard, especially if it's your first time, okay? All right, let's go back over here. So when we start as a clone, if we touch the cat flying, then we also delete the clone. But other than deleting the clone, we want to add to the score. Ooh, before I keep going, Anthony, did you want to say something?
My tacos aren't moving.
The tacos aren't moving. So when you have start as a clone, did it move before, Anthony?
No.
It didn't move before. Did you test it before?
Yeah.
Next time, because we did the taco moving part quite a while ago, it's worth letting us know as soon as it stops moving so that we can try to fix it, okay? But have you checked the code? Is it looking exactly like my code?
Yeah.
Yep. So when you click the flag, what's the taco doing?
Set 它是 change. Oh, I found the problem.
Oh, okay. Cool. So you got yeah. If I'm going to leave this code up like this for a little bit longer, and then we if there's any problems, just keep looking back at it. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Nice work, Anthony. All right. So the next part is we are going to add the scoring system. Okay, because we want to make sure that the player is aware of how much points they're getting. Right. So what we can do is we go into variables over here on the bottom left of the code blocks. And then we're going to go make a variable. And the variable name is called score. So if you know how to spell score, it's S-C-O-R-E. Okay, so you go make a variable. And then you go S-C-O-R-E, score. Yes, Yolanda.
I've already done the next bit.
Excellent, that's great. So you can wait for us while we catch up with you. Okay, well done, Yolanda. Nice work. So we go score for all sprites. And then we go OK. So now you have a score on the top of your screen. And I've just made my screen smaller so that you can see more of my code, okay? But you can also make the game bigger like this so that you can play the game properly, okay? So it doesn't make a difference. It just means that I make mine smaller so that you can see more of the code, okay? So you can see clearly. All right, so now we have a score, see? So the score appears on the top of the screen, but we want to make it so that when I click on the flag, the score starts off as 0, okay? So here, when we go when flag clicked for the taco, I want to change the score to 0. So we go set my variable to 0. Instead of my variable, we change it to score, which set my score to 0, right? Set my score to 0. And then we are going to make it so that when it touches the cat, that means the cat has caught the taco. And then we increase the score by 1. So over here, just before it deletes the clone, we want to change your score by 1. So not change my variable by 1, we change my score by 1. So we go click here, change score by 1, and then we delete the clone. Make sense? So now, when we play the game, you're going to see that if I catch the taco, then my score goes up. And if I miss the taco, my score doesn't go up. Okay? All right, go back to the code so that you can see the code properly. All right. So now we are going to do something that makes the game harder, okay? Because we don't want this game too easy so that our superhero cat catches all our tacos without consequence. We want to make it so that if we get hit by a hazard, then we want to end the game and say game over. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go here, choose a sprite, and then I want you to choose a hazard, and I want you to choose any hazard you want. Okay, you can choose any hazard you want, as long as it looks like it's obviously something you don't want to touch as the cat, okay? So what is something you don't want to touch as a cat? Well, I would probably say anything that looks like anything that looks dangerous. Does anyone want to suggest something? Landa, do you want to suggest something that's dangerous for us?
How about a dog?
A dog, like the dog coming to catch you, right? That's a good one. I'm just going to see if there is a that is a good suggestion actually. Dog might be good. Kevin, have you got another suggestion?
One.
What was that?
Yes, one.
I couldn't hear you. Can you say it again?
How the mouse one?
Mouse 1. Does it look like?
Yes.
Oh, mouse 1. There's like a mouse. No, it looks like too much like a snack, I think. All right. Well, I'm going to go for lightning. Okay. I'm going to go for lightning. So it's like a lightning bolt. If it flies over, then we don't want to touch it. Okay, because it's like a little bit a bit dangerous. But you can choose any kind of hazard you want. Okay. So we're going to choose a lightning. And then I'm going to make it smaller because we want it to be nice and small as well. So I want to change the size again to 30. And then I'm going to change the direction so that it's pointing towards the cat, just so that it looks the part. So I'm going to go like that. Change the direction to 180 so that it's aiming towards the cat. Like that. Now what I want to do is I want to do exactly the same code as the taco, except this time when I touch the cat, instead of scoring, it's going to go game over. Okay, so to copy the code, what we can do is we can go like this. We can go into the taco, and then I think we can go, oh yeah, I can do that. So I could go right click on a bit of code, we go duplicate. Whoa. Hold on. Oh, there we are. You see that? So, I didn't have to duplicate it at all. So all you have to do, if you want to drag code into another block, I'll do it slowly here. So here's my lightning. My lightning has no code on it, right? It's all blank. But my taco has code that I want, right? Like this when flag code. So I just go drag the flag into my lightning, and then now it is inside my lightning code. Okay. And then same thing with the when I start as a clone code, I click on it and I drag it into the lightning. Now in the lightning, it's also got the when I start as a clone code. When the lightning starts, what we want to do is instead of when it touches cat flying, we're not changing the score by 1 anymore. What we want to do is we want to remove everything from inside the when touching cat flying code from inside for the lightning, remove it all. And then what we want to do is we want it to say game over. Okay. And then we can stop all the other sprites, stop all. Okay. So you go game over, and then we go events. No, we go control, and then we go stop all. Actually, we'll do stop all and then say game over, because that will make more sense. Oh. Oh no, we have to just say game over. Sorry about that. Sorry about that, guys. So we have to say game over. So not for 2 seconds. So say game over, and then stop all. Okay, sorry about that. All right, that should be our game. So if we start it now, we have our game where we are trying to catch our tacos. And then if we get hit by lightning, then it's game over. Okay. But it doesn't say game over at the moment. So we probably need to do a little bit of a change here. Yes, Yolanda?
But sometimes the lightning bolt just comes like right on top of the taco.
Yeah, so that's like a trick. That's like a trick taco, isn't it? So it's like you don't try to eat that taco, otherwise you get zapped as well. So it's a tricky one. Okay. All right, but before we go, like I said, we're going to need to any other questions first? Anyone else got questions about the game so far? Because if everyone's following okay, then I'll show you how to animate your superhero cat. Okay, going okay. All right. So right now our cat's not doing much animation. Okay, it's just moving around, but it's all still. Okay. So what I want to do is I want to change the cat's animation so that it looks more like a superhero. So what I do is I make sure the cat is selected. So you press the cat down the bottom until it's highlighted. Make sure the cat is selected. And then you go into costumes. Okay, so go into costumes. Now I'm going to go, so there are two costumes already for the cat. We go flying A and flying B. So we don't want flying B. Flying B can be deleted. I want you to delete flying B. So you press the rubbish bin over here to delete flying B. So we got the cat here. So all we have to do to create our cape is we're going to add a brush. And then you choose a color of your cape. I think red is probably going to be the best colored cape. And then you can draw on top of the cat, because what we're going to do is we're going to move it to the back of behind the cat afterwards. Okay, so I'll show you what I mean. So I draw a cape like this, and then I can go add a fill like that. But now I can select it, and then I can press back over here. And now it's gone all the way to the back, so that it is behind the cat. Does that make sense? So I'll do it again. So here we have our cat. We press on the brush and then change the fill to be whatever color you want the cat's cape to be, okay? And then we're going to draw it over the cat, because we're going to move it behind the cat afterwards. So we draw a cape, and then we can add the fill. So we press fill, and then we fill the cape. And then we press the arrow so that we select the cape. Press the arrow over here. We select the cape, and then we send it back. We press back, like that. And now we have a cape on our superhero cat. But to add a little bit of animation, what I want to do is duplicate it. After you've created the cape, we go right click on the frame here, on this costume, and then we go duplicate. Okay. So we right click and then we go duplicate. So now we have two versions of the same picture. One picture is the cape that we created. Second picture is exactly the same. All we have to do is make a cape that is slightly different, because then it looks like it's flying through the wind. Okay. So you can delete it if you want, and then you can go to the brush again, and then I'm going to make it slightly different shape. Then we go add the fill, and then we go select it, and then we send it to the back. So now we got two versions of the cape, slightly different, so it looks like the cape is animating. And if you want, you can add 3 or 4 versions of the cape so that it's animating more smoothly. Okay, so after the lesson, make sure you save your game, and then you can try to add more versions of the animation. That way you can have it animating smoothly. Ethan, you have a question?
Yeah, I didn't understand. I still can't do like the. Can you show me how to do the cape again?
Sure. So you're watching. So
Yeah.
I'll just do it on a fresh one. So you start off with the cat like this, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now watch carefully. So you click on the brush.
Yeah.
And then you choose the color of your fill. So it says fill here. I'm using red, but you can choose whatever color you want your cape to be.
Okay. Yeah.
So make sure your brush is selected. And then you draw the cape like a triangle like this. And then we don't have to be afraid of drawing in front of the cat, because we're going to move to the back, okay?
Okay.
So you've drawn a triangle kind of shape.
Yeah.
Make sure it's closed up.
Yes.
And then you click on fill.
Yeah. You can.
And then you fill the color so that it's all full up.
Yes.
And then you press on the arrows to select this arrow here.
Okay.
And then you select the cape that we just created.
Yes, you selected.
And then we press back at the top here.
Back. Okay, I get it now.
Okay, so now I have 3 versions now. So the more versions you have, the more diverse your animation is going to be. So now all you have to do, we go into code, so that inside the forever loop, all we have to do is go into next costume inside the forever loop. So now when I press the flag, you can see that my cape is now flying like it's flapping in the wind. Yeah, just like that. Okay. All right.